Hey everyone, wanted to get a short update out there after using this for 3 months. This is a little quick and dirty, so I don't have to worry about editing and just get it out there, because I haven't had a whole lot of time recently. So for an update, I have 4 Vue2s, and I have 2 street feeds, each 240 volts, so 120 on each for a 240 total, and then 2 feeds coming in. I have 3 views on a single feed coming in because I have AC compressors outside, the boxes you see outside the house that turn on for air conditioning. And that is powered by a distribution box outside. That is where one view goes. Then on the inside of the house, I have 2 breaker panels. One panel has 32 breakers on it or so. And I have 2 more views on that because that has the majority of the breakers for the house. And then I have a second panel, which is the second feed coming into the house, that has the 4th Vue2. So it's a little complicated, but there's a lot of them and they work pretty well. So going on to how well the Vue2 works. I went through earlier today and exported the data from all 4 Vue2s and added it all together, and then compared October, November, and December power usage in kilowatt hours to what the power company was charging me, and it's all within 1%. And I think that 1% is each Vue2 on the single feed that comes in, the 3 of them, they're all 1% off on what they're reading for power usage, very little, maybe a little less than 1%. But then also when I calculate the power usage, the power company stops billing on November 9th and starts billing on November 9th. So I use the same day twice when trying to calculate it out because I don't know what time they start and stop. So there could be a little bit of difference there, but 1% is not bad. So the app is accurate. The calculations are accurate. The dollar amount is a little bit harder because I have a variable rate depending on how much you use. And then I also wasn't paying attention, and the rate actually goes up over June through August, and then it's actually 3 cents cheaper or so the rest of the year. So 9 months out of the year, it's like 5 cents a kilowatt hour, a little bit more, averaging with that variable rate. And then it goes up to 8 cents after that. If I'm doing the math right, it starts with an 8, starts with a 5. In any case, so the dollar usage is a little bit harder to calculate. I just leave it on the one rate that's average for the 8 months. So if we look at the usage though, it actually has been very helpful. Obviously with 4 of them, I need to recoup enough money to ideally pay for them, right? Saving money, and even more than that over time. The biggest usage by far, I have 2 40-gallon electric water heaters. I think they're 40. And they suck up 1/3 of my power bill each month. And I've gone through and I've adjusted the temperature, bringing it down where it's hot enough, where everyone in the house is happy with the heat of the water or the temperature, but it's not overly hot. Whereas before, a lot of times you could turn a hot water all the way as far as it would go, and it might burn you. And now, if you want to have a nice hot shower, you got to turn it all the way on, and it won't burn you, but it'll be a steaming shower. So that's one of the things it can save, and that saved me a few dollars a month. I don't know exactly. And I actually tried turning one of the hot water heaters off and just running one of them, but then running one of them, the power usage on it was almost as much as just running both of them at the same time. So I just went ahead and left both of them on. But turned the temperature down and kept tweaking it down until I got to a point where no one complained about the temperature, but they're as low as they could possibly go for power savings. Another way to look at that too, or that I've done, is we have some space heaters, and then we also have heat pumps, but when it's gotten really cold, the heat pump turns on the auxiliary heat. And so if you're not familiar, the auxiliary heat is really just heat coils in the unit in the house where the blower runs through, because it can't transfer enough heat from outside to get it. So in other words, if I just have the heat pump running, it's almost a cold temperature coming through because it's so cold outside, it can't pull heat from the outside. So it goes ahead and turns on the auxiliary heat, which are heat coils almost like an electric range, and the blower runs through it, and it does heat up the room then, but it's also expensive. So we have some space heaters, and if you look at the power usage on the space heaters versus the auxiliary heat, you can determine where you can save more money, or advise the family, okay, don't turn it up past, this temperature as far as the HVAC unit or the thermostat. And if you want to get warmer, use an electric blanket, use a space heater, whatever. And you can try and save some money there. And that's helped me out a lot as well, because there are some people in the house that, I guess like every house, run at different temperatures. Some people are hot, some people are cold. And so this way it helps keep everyone warm and keep them happy. So now if we look at the app, there are a few things that I would like to see that are pretty simple. One, there is no Wi-Fi strength for any of the Vue2s. So I cannot look at any of the Vue2s and actually see what the Wi-Fi strength is. All you can do is go through and look at the circuits and name them and reset the reset the Wi-Fi, but nothing that shows is actually how well it's connected. Like the one I have outside, it's connected, it delivers data, but I don't know if it's 1 bar or 4 bars. It'd just be nice to know. Another thing is, when you're looking at the graphs, it would be nice, where am I at here? Graphs. To have a line graph instead of a bar graph is just a little bit easier to read. And then if you had a line, you could also possibly, when you're selecting a graph circuit, maybe select more than one. And at this point in time, all you can do is look at one at a time. So if I want to look at my water heater, I have 2 of them here, water heater 1 and water heater 2. I can just see one graph, right? And I don't know, I can't compare it to what the other one is doing unless I go back and I look at graph circuit, water heater 2. Okay, but now what was the other one? Are they both running equally? Is one running more than the other? Things like that, that'd be nice to see. And you can't do that. So one being like, it'd be nice to have line graphs. 2, it'd be nice if you could look at 2 graphs simultaneously. The other piece about this is that when you want to export the data, like I did, to compare against what the power company is charging me, it's relatively easy to do, but because you just go down here from the menu, go to export raw data to CSV and pick your unit. You get an email with a link and you download the CSV. But there's no time selection that you can choose from. So it just sends you, appears maybe like all the data that it actually has. And it'll send you the day, the month, the day, the hour, and the second values for almost everything that everything that it has. Like when I went and downloaded it, I got data back to September. And I wasn't really interested in that data, but I got everything at one time. So there's no time selection or time frame selection. So the other biggest problem that I have, and I asked support today, being January 19th, and they said they were coming out with an updated app version. And because I have 3 Vue2s on one circuit, so 1A, 1C, 1B, and 1C is actually outside on the distribution panel, so we have the AC, 3 AC compressors, and then 1A and 1B are the single panel inside the house monitoring all the other circuits. Is that when you look at the circuits here, let me see, there's a better way of doing this. I had this earlier. Actually, it's a home. Okay, it's under home, sorry. And I want to look at, and I don't want to look at kilowatt usage. I want to look at the actual dollars because it'll make more sense. So if you look at this 1A, 1C, and 1B, and if I look at 1A specifically, I can see that the main is using, which is all the breakers or everything that's monitoring, $9.73. But down here at the bottom, it has a balance of $2.12. So if you bought a single Vue2, you can actually monitor your entire usage on that circuit breaker panel. And the individual circuits, you can only monitor 16. Like I have some bedrooms here, water heaters, and so forth. So only 16 individual breakers. But when you plug in the device on the feeds at the top that actually pull the power usage, it calculates how much usage is being used by anything else that the breakers are not on. So in other words, out of this $9.73, $2.12 are being used by circuit breakers that don't have an individual monitor. So in other words, that are not listed here. So we have 16 breakers, and there's another 16 or so in this panel, and they're using $2.12. And so it picks up that balance of extra power used that it's not actually monitoring with an individual monitor on a breaker. But now if I go to panel 1B, which is monitoring the same feeds, I start getting double usage because now I have a balance here of $11.89. So of the breakers being monitored here, $11.89 are being used that are not pulled by one of its sensors. And so when I look at my total usage, it's all off because I have the same problem with panel C. So these are my ACs outside. They're obviously not on because it's cold. And it's showing $9.64 worth of usage. That are by monitors that it's not using. And that's because it's coming from panel 1A and it's coming from panel 1B. Now numbers look a little bit odd, and I've fixed these up, and it all calculates correctly when you do the math. You just have to trust me on that one. But that's my biggest thing, is that I cannot say that panel 1A, panel 1B, and panel 1C are all pulling from the same street feed. So the balance should not be calculated here, right? It has to be calculated as a total between the usage of all the three views. And like I said, they're supposed to have an update out for it this quarter is the goal, and we'll see if that happens, hopefully. Be nice, make it a lot more useful to be actually see my total usage, whereas now I cannot without going in and exporting data and trying to figure it all out. So overall, real happy with it. It's really easy to use. The support on it is amazing. I always use the chat online. It's always very quick, and they're always very helpful, and they always, so far, have had an answer. So I hope you guys find this useful. Like it if you do. And if you have any questions, post them up, or if you have any other ideas of what would be helpful to find out, let me know. Thanks.